Next demonstration we're going to do is we're going to just remind you, I know you've done this already, but we're going to cut something called a haunched mortise and tenon. So we use the mortise machine for this and hand tools to cut out the haunched tenon. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the distance from the end, the size or the length of my mortise. Okay, so the mortise is going to be 35 millimeters. So I'm going to line up my rule at the end, just check it's right on the end. I'm going to count along 35 millimeters, make a little mark, take my tri-square, and I'm going to make my mark there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this up into thirds. Now this is 18 millimeters, so I'm going to want each side here to be 6 millimeters. It's going to be long parallel lines. I'm going to take my marking gauge and I'm going to set it to 6 millimeters. Up the wooden device, easier to use. And I'm going to draw one parallel line at one side. And then I'm going to come around to the other side. And I'm going to take that across the end grain as well. And I'll do the same on that one. And then darken up the lines. Right, to create the haunch and the mortise and tenon, what I'm going to do is from what would be the shoulder, I'm going to measure along 23 millimeters. And that's going to be the deepest part of the hole. And then we're going to have 8 millimeters left over. And on the end grain, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down for the depth. One of them is going to be measured down 8 millimeters, and the other one's going to measure down 24 millimeters. I'm just going to use my carpenter's marking gauge to put the two depths on there. So one's 8, one's 24. Now wheel forward, I can adjust to make sure it's in the centre. In the machine. I'm going to start at this end, not quite, I'm going to almost start in the middle, a little bit out at a time, and I'm going to move towards the line. Take off a little bit there, and then I'm going to work my way and be very careful at this bit, there's a good chance this could break. Now I'm down to the line, I'm going to loosen off the depth stock, bring it down to the mark that I made for 24, lock it back in place again, I'm going to go any further. I've got my mark here, I'm going to line the chisel up with the mark that I made, which is 8 millimeters in. Switch on the mortise machine again. Bring the chisel down, and then a little bit of time. Okay, for the shoulder, I'm going to measure down 24 millimeters, so 20, one back from the 25, make a little mark, take my tri-square, pencil on the top of the line, slide it up to it touches, drop one line, take your pencil, pop it on the top of the line, slide it, do the same on the other side. Pop on the back. Okay, so we've marked all the way round. I don't need to reset my marking gauge because it's already at a third, it's already at 6. And I'm just going to use my marking gauge to draw a line down one side. Across the end grain. Take the pencil, darken in your parallel lines. And then we'll hatch off the waist. do a knife and a notching. Build up the cut slowly. Take your chisel to create a little V-notch. To cut the shoulders, I'm using the tenon saw. I've used this before. Again, a little drag back just to get it started. Keep the saw at an angle to start with. Gently saw. Once you've got the saw moving, concentrate on keeping the saw nice and straight. And we're cutting just down to the line on both sides. Flip it round the other way. Hold the material on the bench hook. In the tenon saw, again, we've got the material at an angle. I'm cutting away from the line because I'm going to use the chisel to pare down later. So I'm just inside the bit that I've hatched. And I've cut down from corner to corner. Tenon's now roughly cut out. I'm now going to pare it down with the chisel. This time I'm just going to start off with making sure that the shoulder's nice and straight. Line up the material. I'm just using the chisel just to pare off. And flip it on the other side. A bit more work to do on this side. I'll start off with squaring up the edge. Once I'm happy with that, I'll line up in the vise again. Working from the front. Just past the middle. On the other side. ordinary tenon. Now we just need to cut the haunch in it. I'm going to, from the shoulder, I'm going to measure in 8mm. Make a little mark. Take my tri-square. Use the back of the blade. Just to drill that one in. And then I'm going to measure up from the bottom. 23mm. We've got the 25 and count back 2. I'm just going to do a bit of a cheat, and I'm going to use the straight edge of the ruler on the shoulder. Put that in there. It's a neat. I'm going to mark it on the other side as well, so I'm just going to mark across the top. I will mark down the other side. Just make a little mark so I can see where I'm marking. And then I'm going to measure up 23mm. To mark where I'm going to cut this bit. Okay, using the tenon saw, I'm going to cut down with the grain at the moment. Less chance of breaking the tenon. This should be just as neat as all the other parts that are made of the joint, so just hack it out. Nice and gently at this stage. Hardly pressing on the saw at all. I cut my haunch.